Tonight on Cougar News, we see how the campus is responding to evolving security threats.
And we get a long-awaited update on a fatal car crash that killed 2 COC students in 2016.
We also sit down with the host of a news show that promises to give you the scoop on Santa Clarita food culture. Cougar News starts now.
This is Cougar News.
Hello everyone and welcome to Cougar News. I'm Sarah Pena.
And I'm Savannah Birchfield, and here's the latest from the Cougar Newsroom.
For the first time in COC history, 2 governing boards of the college united to establish a discussion fueled by their drive to ensure the safety and success of the students. I went out with reporter Elizabeth Medina to see what steps are being taken.
The Classified and Academic Senates joined forces with ASG to address a topic that's still gnawing at our sense of safety.
The meeting was actually a response to the false alarm active shooter on campus event that happened in January.
What turned out to be a false alarm continues to affect those whose heartbreaking stories still take a toll.
One of the things that I felt really disheartened by was the faculty who said that they felt helpless and that they were left alone, and that they wouldn't have been found.
The uneasiness lingering from that cold, rainy evening has raised a lot of questions.
What did we learn there, and how do we do better, and how do we make sure everyone feels really empowered to make the right decisions?
What the meeting did was create a safe and open platform for new ideas and new voices.
Having multiple different types of peoples with multiple different preferences and perspectives in one room to be able to freely and openly talk about their concerns and have a safe place to do so is the first step to improving any situation moving forward.
Everybody feels this is important, and how frustrated and I guess even angry everyone is about the situation.
I felt like they were dismissing the danger that my daughter was in.
By having everybody there, by having a representative from almost all of the bodies, I think that went a really long way.
Knowing that the conversation has finally begun is a step in the right direction.
It's happened so many times where it's been spoken about and people forgot about it, and so by having a permanent committee in place that handles these kinds of things, it'll help to ensure that this conversation doesn't die out like it has before.
Now the question remains, what's next for the future of these meetings?
This is going to be the first of many meetings within the same venue, the same vein of interest, and we're going to try to ever expand the voices and the groups that are involved.
For now, progress, change, and a sense of hope will continue to keep the dialogue alive.
Whatever plan we're building, whatever actionable steps we're going to be taking, we're keeping that in mind so that we don't ever have somebody feel as if they've been left alone and abandoned.
Reporting to you for Cougar News, I'm Elizabeth Medina.
With the opening of a new parking structure, concerns have been raised about what safety measures are in place within the building to keep students and vehicles safe. Cougar News reporter Jonathan Stratton shines a light on how the college is using security cameras to watch out for students.
With construction done, we find a new addition to the College of the Canyons Valencia campus, giving us over 1,000 new parking spaces for students and faculty. With the structure standing 3 stories tall, some have wondered about the security we leave our cars in. I sat down with Vice President of Public Information for the college, Eric Harnish, to learn what the school has in place to protect us and our cars in the parking lots.
Campus safety is it's always an ongoing endeavor. It's something that we take seriously here at the college. It's something that we're committed to. Well, the parking structure was aimed to alleviate the parking crunch that we had on campus. We have campus safety officers that are on duty throughout the morning, afternoon, and evening on both campuses. And then also there are cameras that are installed in the parking structure as well. So there's 41 cameras, and they operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Some of them have multiple views on them, so if you were to isolate it by view, it would equal like 60 plus cameras, and that's covering the first level and the second level, which are underground. The third level is the top level, and it's visible, just like a normal parking lot is.
The third story of the parking structure stands without cameras, as does all sky-facing parking lots throughout campus, with cameras placed only at security areas.
You can always get better, and so we're always, looking at ways that we can, improve.
For Cougar News, I'm Jonathan Stratton.
Students deal with stress from time to time. When it gets too overwhelming, COC's Behavioral Intervention Team is one resource that can help. Here's more with Cougar News reporter Natalia Radcliffe and photojournalist Praditya Fulamarani.
Students can have a lot to deal with, from school to other avenues of their lives, such as relationships and jobs. Sometimes stress builds up and you need aid. COC's Behavioral Intervention Team, or BIT Team for short, is a resource students can utilize when the world becomes too heavy to hold. The BIT Team consists of people from student development, campus safety, and the Health and Wellness Center. Larry Schallert is one of these people.
It's basically a care team for students that might be in some kind of distress. So we like to help students as early as possible if they come to our attention for whatever reason.
When it comes to helping students, every scenario is different. However, the first step in helping someone always remains the same.
If you see something going on, say something early, even if it's the smallest thing.
BIT Team members always try to get to the root of the problem first, rather than punishing students for acting out of turn.
Well, what's going on here? Is it something the teacher is doing? Is it something that the student is experiencing in their home life or in their personal life? And then we'll try to engage with that student.
Schallert also advises students and staff to be familiar with the Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. This number can be called if you or someone you know is contemplating suicide. Health is your greatest wealth. The Behavioral Intervention Team at COC is here to help you with your investment in it. For Cougar News, this is Natalia Radcliffe.
Not only is a BIT Team for students, faculty can also utilize this resource as well. Schaller encourages those who think a student might need help to call a BIT Team member to get assistance.
The driver of a vehicle involved in a crash that claimed the lives of 2 COC students has pled guilty to multiple accounts of vehicular manslaughter. Delio Lockhart, a 35-year-old man from Whittier, caused a multi-car collision in early 2016 that killed the 2 students as well as a UPS driver from Mira Loma. Michelle Littlefield and Brian Lewandowski were on their way home from Disneyland when their car was hit by a UPS truck sent off course by a collision with Lockhart's vehicle. He is believed to have been participating in a street race at the time of the crash. Lockhart's guilty plea was part of a negotiated deal with prosecutors in exchange for a reduced sentence. A formal sentencing hearing is scheduled for April 12th, when he is expected to receive over 22 years in prison.
Since the weather has been acting abnormally, Cougar News reporters Leslie Romero and Sophia Lesios tell us why the forecast is changing in such a dramatic way.
Climate change is the shift in weather over a long period of time.
The recent phenomenon in Southern California spiked our interest in the way the forecast has been changing.
The climate in California is some of the most variable in all the country because we have the most extreme. We are having a lot more rain and it's been colder and there's been a lot more snow. This is in fact the wettest and coldest February ever recorded.
The relief of Southern California's drought may be short. Climate scientists say that we are in for hotter and drier conditions for the state.
Here locally, we're seeing when we do get storms, they're much more severe, which is going to put us into that cycle of, in the past, we've always had a certain time of year that was our fire season. When the Santa Ana's blew and everything was dry after the summer. But now, because it's been getting hotter and drier, and when we have big storms in, we get more vegetation growing, that dries out. We're now getting the fire season all year round.
Polar air has been coming down from the North Pole due to a breakage of strong air bringing the coldest conditions in decades.
We spoke to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration about what's going on.
Starting to see storms here in the West Coast and a lot of snow in our mountains in California. And that pattern that's been there since early January has not really changed a whole lot. And that's another thing about climate change. We're seeing storm patterns kind of stall and not progress eastward and move and change so that we're into maybe a drier period and hotter period during the winter time.
The NOAA says that there's always something we can be doing to help, like reducing our carbon footprint by eating food locally grown, flying less, recycling, and saving energy.
Climate change is something that's always unpredictable.
And weather is always changing.
For Cougar News, I'm Sophia Lesios.
And I'm Leslie Romero.
This rain's been really crazy lately.
Definitely. Let's take it to Ryan for what's trending.
Thanks, guys. The United Kingdom is in the news as Prime Minister Theresa May's latest attempt to pass a Brexit deal was rejected by MPs on Tuesday. This triggered a second vote that took place earlier today, where Parliament also rejected a proposal to leave the European Union without a negotiated deal. This latest development throws the very future of Brexit into question. MPs are expected to decide tomorrow on whether or not to postpone Brexit, and after that, there have already been calls to hold a second public referendum to let the people decide its future. Many celebrities, including Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, are in hot water due to a nationwide college admissions scandal. The scam was run by William Rick Singer, who funded a private college counseling company called The Key. Singer is said to have helped these celebrities' children gain admission to prominent colleges such as USC, Yale, and Stanford by taking bribes up to $6.5 million. With the help of actresses such as Loughlin and Huffman, Singer would bribe coaches and members of the school administrations into lying and saying that their kids were athletes, giving them a higher chance of being accepted into a prestigious university. He also is reported to have helped these students cheat on the SAT and ACT exams by claiming they had learning disabilities. Singer pled guilty to charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice, and is set to pay $3.4 million as part of his deal. Finally, discussions about vaccinations are being raised throughout the world, with Costa Rica being exposed to measles by French tourists and Italy taking measures to prevent unvaccinated children from attending their schools. In Costa Rica, a 5-year-old boy from France complained about a rash, which was later confirmed by Costa Rican doctors to be measles. Proper precautions were put in place by the Costa Rican health minister to stop the spread of the disease, but this scare did spark conversation about vaccination hesitancy and the anti-vaccine movement. The last time measles were reported in Costa Rica was back in 2014. Among these lines, Italian parents face a fine up to 500 euros should they allow their unvaccinated children to go to school. The Lorenzin law, named after the former health minister who first introduced this idea, has actually improved their vaccination rates, according to Italian officials. And that's what's trending. I'm Ryan Burke. For more stories in and around the Santa Clarita Valley, you can check us out on cougarnews.com. Back to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Ryan. COC's Red Cross Club holds many events to help those in desperate need of blood. Reporter Summer Yang shows us how the club is trying to change lives.
COC Red Cross meetings are on Wednesdays 4:30 to 5 p.m. in the TLC. According to American Red Cross website, every 2 seconds someone in the U.S. needs blood. It is essential for surgeries, cancer treatment, chronic disease, and traumatic injuries.
Well, at COC, we're trying to help people out, pretty much introducing new members to the community and be able to help other people out. We not only focus on helping out COC community, but also we also help in just making the whole community itself better by attending events that are not only to Valencia, but also to the LA region.
Install smoke alarms to prevent fires in their homes, and we go respond to disasters like the Houston flooding.
Well, mainly in this semester, at least, we're trying to focus in pretty much making the members have a good time. I know we usually try to pretty much tell what's going to happen in the next few weeks, basically on what events we're going to have, and pretty much remind the other people to do their volunteer connection accounts. Another thing that we do is we try to get a hold of pretty much make everyone go to the events, because it's important for not only for us but also for the other people that are getting helped by what we do. The hours of volunteering, they help other people out.
Camera 3 in 15 seconds.
The American Red Cross prevents and alleviates human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and generosity of the donors. This is Summer Yang for Cougar News.
Though it ended 74 years ago, the effects of the Holocaust are still felt by many to this day. One survivor shared his experiences with several media arts students at COC. Katie Winecoop lets him share his story.
I'm looking for bodyguard. Can you go about bodyguard?
At nearly 93 years young, David Weiner has lived through some amazing yet terrifying times in history. One of the few Holocaust survivors left in the world, Weiner has told his story to many people in many different forms. His book, called Nothing to Lose But My Life, is the recollection of his experience during the Second World War in Poland.
They said, this was yesterday, forget about it. Yes, I was sworn from Hungary and lived on the street, and a buddy of mine, met him in Warsaw, took me in to his grandfather at a bakery and had a piece of matzah for Pesach. Pesach is Easter, Jewish Easter, Pesach.
Many of the advanced animation students at College of the Canyons have read his literature and agree that his story inspires them all. With the intent of sharing Weiner's biography, the department has decided to piece together a couple of his most interesting stories into real-time animations.
Where I slept and stole potatoes from pigs. It was 3 potatoes. I take one, he took one we cut it in half. Make sure half is right properly. Those potatoes were tastier than today the best meat you can have. After a while, I want to remind myself who I am, where I come from. I don't want to forget. The potatoes remind me where I come from, what I went through.
For Cougar News, I'm Katie Winecoop.
Coming up next on Cougar News, we visit Media Day and see how the college is connecting students with media professionals.
And we get a taste of a new show exploring food and culture in Santa Clarita. Stay tuned.
In a home fire, can your family safely escape in 2 minutes?
I heard my oldest son holler for mommy, and all I could see was smoke. The boys, we never really worked with them, I guess, on telling them what to do if there's a fire. We lost our child. We lost everything.
Make sure you can safely escape a fire. Practice your 2-minute drill. Test your smoke alarms monthly. Make your plan today.
College of the Canyons creates possibilities.
It's a gateway to opportunities.
A place where students learn they can believe in themselves.
Behind every possibility at College of the Canyons are the people.
Together we focus on achieving success, one student at a time.
That focus is a reflection of what we value.
It defines who we are.
We are. We are.
We are College of the Canyons.
This is Cougar News.
Media industry professionals gathered on the Valencia campus on Saturday, March 2nd, to pass down their knowledge to the next generation. Cougar News reporter Sophia Lesios gives us an inside look.
Hey guys, it's Sophia Lesios, and we are at Media Day at College of the Canyons. Check it out. We got the whole team and the crew going on right here. ABC7 in the background. We got West Ranch TV in the background as well. I hope you guys made it to Media Day. Media Day is a biannual event hosted by the Media, Arts, and Entertainment Department at College of the Canyons. The presenters focused on providing hands-on learning experiences for attendees that could help jumpstart their career.
Media Day is just a great place for so many kids to come and learn from industry professionals, but really shake hands, make connections, and I think a lot of people will benefit because of the connections they can make with people. what better opportunity to learn from presenters, hear their stories, and figure out how to channel that into future careers and learn from them and envision what I can do for the rest of my life.
Many filmmakers, writers, journalists, and more were at the event.
I hope to impact the students by sharing my experience and also letting them know the classes and the video production classes available here at College of the Canyons.
This special event brings together industry professionals to share their experience and advice to the students.
I enjoy teaching because this is the next generation that I might be working with on set, or that will be working on creating films and telling stories that after I'm gone, and just being able to pass on a little bit of advice from other people that have taught me throughout the years.
While the students looked towards their future of their careers, the presenters saw an opportunity to reshape their industry.
I feel like our business, our industry is important, and I hope I'm doing my best to leave it better for the next generation.
Media Day had no age limits and was open to anyone willing to listen and ask questions.
If you love to write, if you love to shoot video, if whatever you love to do it now. Do it all of the time. It's the only way you get better.
It's easy for attendees to vision their success in the industry because many of them were once in their shoes.
It is Media Day, and one of the coolest things about College of the Canyons is that Dave, through his program, has fostered so many young journalists, and he knows so many other journalists too that have been in the business, and he brings them all together for one day. My favorite thing being a student here was listening to other journalists, people who are working in the industry, tell us their stories, and I'm just honored, and it's kind of weird that I get to do it now today.
For Cougar News, I'm Sophia Lesios.
Natalia Radcliffe is talking with one Cougar Newsie who has some flavorful details on hotspots around Santa Clarita.
Take it away, Natalia.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Noah LaBelle, the new host of the show, The Real Santa Clarita Diet. Welcome to the show, Noah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So what exactly is your show about, and why did you decide to start this in the first place?
So the show, The Real Santa Clarita Diet, is basically where I go around and I find these little hidden gems that, make Santa Clarita the unique city it is, not those boring, bland, and basic places, stuff that stands out and just said, you go there and you say, oh, wow. And then I was talking with fellow reporter Will Davison, and he was saying, hey, I have this great idea, and you like food, and so it's, a perfect match.
Definitely sounds like it. When you aren't eating out, trying all these new and interesting places to eat, do you cook at home? And if so, what kind of things do you like to cook?
See, I really like to cook. But the issue I run into is, I don't always have a lot of time. So, and I like to cook big meals, and normally it's just me. So, typically, I'll go and eat out. So places that we look at are a lot of the places that I like to go and try.
Big meals. That can be expensive, and we all know as college students, A, don't have a lot of time, and B, don't have a lot of money. And so have you found any good places in the Santa Clarita Valley that gives us good food, but for a great price?
Yeah, actually, we've had a handful of places that have been really affordable, but also, really good food, because, you could go to fast food, but it's, not really that good. So yeah, there are actually a lot of places out there that are like that.
Definitely sounds interesting. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for coming, and before we leave, where can we find your show on?
Yeah, so like Cougar News, we are on the Cougar News website. We are also on Facebook and YouTube.
Right. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Natalia. Witches and Wizards flew into Valencia's bar scene Saturday night in celebration of all things magic. Cougar News reporters Hannah Curran and I give us details on this enchanting evening.
Fans of the Harry Potter series are gathering here at Alchemy in Valencia in honor of the annual Wizards Assemble pub crawl. Attendees came clad in their favorite house attire and enjoyed $6 themed drinks from butterbeer to the Vanishing Cranberry cocktail with fellow fans. Each bar that took part in the event continued in their standard operation, but they've certainly never seen patrons quite like this.
never been to like a pub crawl or anything even like Harry Potter themed. So I was like to my sister, I was like, look, we should go. It sounds really fun.
The event attracted locals and travelers alike. Some even traveled over an hour to experience all the fun and magic. We spoke to Jairo Juarez, one of the event's coordinators, to find out more about the company's pub crawls.
We have the onesie crawl, we have an R&B crawl, we have Wizards crawl, and only a year in, these three are the themes that we've been working with, but there will be several new themes in the future, just themes that will bring people together.
The event operated through a total of 6 bars throughout the Valencia Westfield Mall area, including Lee's Wine Bistro, Bunker Hill, and The Canyon. Trivia and a costume contest concluded the night at Saddle Ranch, where brooms were traded in for a mechanical bull. For Cougar News, I'm Hannah Kern.
Local residents were looking towards the sky last week as the Thunderbirds piloted their jets over the Santa Clarita Valley. The Thunderbirds are an elite performance group operated by the Air Force. Their acrobatic displays are usually reserved for air shows, but they were in Los Angeles last week to do a flyover for the premiere of Captain Marvel. Their flight over Santa Clarita was especially significant as it honored the memory of Major Stephen Del Baño, a former Thunderbird pilot and Santa Clarita resident who was killed last year during a training accident. The jets descended to a low altitude and flew in tight formation above the Saugus home of Major Del Baño's parents.
Cougar News reporter Emily Mahler tells us about the films we might have missed during our winter break in this episode of Cougar Review.
Happy New Year and start to spring semester. Winter break was an amazing time for movies. We saw flying nannies, spider people, and some groundbreaking storytelling. So here's a roundup of some of the movies you might have missed during your break. I'm Emily Mahler. Let's get started. My favorite movie of 2018 was If Beale Street Could Talk. Barry Jenkins' follow-up to his 2017 Best Picture winner, Moonlight, is a love story between Tish and Fonnie. Set in 1970s Harlem, Tish is running against the clock to get Fonnie out of jail for a crime he didn't commit before their baby is born. Jenkins' direction, paired with Nicholas Britell's score, is hauntingly heartbreaking yet hopeful. It's a must-see. We got our first portrayal of Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, and even Spider-Ham on the big screen with Into the Spider-Verse. When multiple spider beings end up in the same universe, it's up to Miles Morales, the newest human, to get bit by a radioactive spider to save the multiverse of him and his new friends. With an all-star cast and contrasting yet perfect animation styles, this film exhibits what animation and superhero movies can become. This team-up film shows us exactly what Stan Lee wanted for this character, that anyone can be behind the mask. Mary Poppins Returns is the newest reboot in Disney's long list. Following the grown-up versions of The Banks Children, Poppins returns, ha ha ha, to help raise and spark joy in them and their families' lives. This film is like its predecessor, to be honest, too much like it. Emily Blunt and the cast did an amazing job, but this film just felt short of imagination. They overdid and reused excessively. My excitement was gone in the first half hour. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
If you think sports are super competitive, then you haven't seen real competition. Here in the Santa Clarita Valley lies a hidden gem that many don't know about. Cougar News reporter Caden Cerulli gives us a down low on this unique local venue.
Games like Super Smash Bros. Have become a very influential and popular part of today's youth. Glowhouse Gaming is a place that brings together competitive gamers where they can come and share their interests and build a strong social gaming community here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Over 50 gamers, ranging from small children to grown adults, came out to support Glowhouse Gaming's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Tournament Saturday evening. Many of these competitors even drove great distances to reach the event.
I live an hour away and I traveled out to support the event, and it's a great experience. I would have never expected this if I didn't travel out.
Glowhouse Gaming opened only a few years ago here in Santa Clarita's Industrial Center. For some, it may seem like an odd environment to place a company that specializes in these events. But Glowhouse Gaming is more than your new favorite spot to play video games.
Actually, tournaments is one of the other things that we do as a business. Generally, we host gaming and music events, host parties, we do events for schools, we've done celebrity parties, things like that. So that's generally what we do. We are an event hosting company.
A streaming booth, which also can be used for podcasting, will soon be available to the public for those that would like to rent out the space. With the flexibility Glowhouse Gaming provides for its open studio, their owners and employees always find happy customers returning in larger numbers.
We just have a great environment and they feel comfortable because we have adults who want to drop their kids off and let us watch them for 3 and 4 hours. That's a true great feeling for us as a business because you have customers that's trusting us with their children.
While younger generations surround themselves in the virtual now, places like Glowhouse Gaming are expected to thrive and become strong competitors against multiple entertainment organizations. Reporting for Cougar News, I'm Caden Cerulli.
After a successful golf career at COC, Joe Greiner has had the opportunity to caddy on the PGA Tour. Reporters Rico Carvajal and Ryan Burke show us his journey to the green.
Left, 4! For almost 5 years, College of the Canyons alumni Joe Greiner has had the pleasure of caddying at the professional level.
It's a lot of fun, man. It's good to be around the best players in the world, traveling all over the place, going to the best golf courses in the world. It's a pretty good gig. It's probably second to playing on the PGA Tour.
After playing professionally for a few years himself, Greiner's full-time caddy career began after speaking with a longtime friend.
And Max Homa in 2013 asked me if I wanted to caddy. So he knew I caddied before. I ended up caddying for him the week of 2013 Fries.com. He finished tied for 9th.
Greiner's connection with Homa began in the Santa Clarita Valley, where they formed valuable chemistry.
He's about 4 years younger than me, so we grew up on the same golf course, played a bunch of golf together. And, basically he kind of knew, I knew his game fairly well, and I knew what I was doing as far as caddying, so it just worked out perfect.
Kevin Chappell, a UCLA graduate and another friend, hired him as a full-time caddy after several successful outings on the PGA Tour.
From that moment on, I worked for Chap for about 2.5 years until he just got hurt this past season and then started back with Max again.
Joe Greiner's schedule varies based on both Chappell's and Homa's preferences and performances.
You got to talk to your player, ask him what tournaments he wants to play, what courses he likes, and you kind of figure it out.
As a result, Greiner has plenty of time to be at home throughout the year.
I can play golf, I can be with my family. It's pretty good gig.
For Cougar News, I'm Ryan Burke.
The track and field season is officially underway, and the Cougars have made tremendous strides due to the chemistry between their athletes. Reporter David Gonzalez spoke with the team members and their coach.
Track season is officially underway, and the Cougars have been off to a hot start. Coach Kane tells us,
we have been very competitive this season. We have many of our athletes ranked in the top 5 in the Western State Conference, which is one of the most competitive conferences in Southern California.
In a competitive conference of 13 other schools, COC has been able to remain in the top 5 over the past few seasons.
COC is definitely one of the top teams up here in Southern California when it comes to JCs.
The coaches attribute the team's consistency to
local athletes, so a lot of them have known each other, are known of each other. So when they come in together as a group, they are a little bit more familiar with one another.
Led by number 1 ranked thrower Jordan Palmer, the throwing team has been on an absolute tear.
I think I'm ranked first in shot and second in disc.
We've been winning a lot of meets. We've tied Cuesta last conference meet, which we expected better, but we got what we got.
While the throwers have their sights set on this weekend's match, other members are excited about
state. I can't wait.
So the goal is always to advance as many people on as we can as we go into championships, break a few school records along the way.
The team is getting ready for its 7th meet this weekend. For Cougar News, I'm David Gonzalez.
Many people know the Santa Clarita Soccer Center is the place to play the world's most popular sport. But did you know you can even find a good sports camp or a game of dodgeball and a sport most people have never heard of? Here's more with AJ Sabidra and Connor McKinnon.
The SCV Cornhole League is a place where friends and family go to hang out and play on Thursday nights at the Santa Clarita Soccer Center.
Cornhole is a fun game where it consists of either a single player or 2 players, and you're on the same team, and you're trying to get 4 bags into the hole. Tossing them into the hole on the opposite side of the board. The distance is 27 feet. It's a very popular tailgate and backyard game. It's incredibly addicting and fun.
The league also has its own app called Scorholio, where you're able to check in and have your team ready to go as soon as game times are ready, as well as having a tournaments button that checks to see if there are any up-and-coming local tournaments for you to play in.
It's great because you can do it anywhere. Anyone can play. You can play anywhere. You know, you get a set of boards, you can throw them out here. You can put them in the parking lot at a football game. You can put them at the beach, park, concerts in the park. You know, you go to the concert in the park, you have them in the back. Everyone's throwing, enjoying, having a good time.
If you're ever out and about on a Monday or Thursday night, you can go to Dude's Brewery where they play cornhole, or you can go on Thursdays to Santa Clarita Soccer Center where they play the SCV Cornhole League. And this has been Andrew Speedio reporting to you for Cougar News.
Skaters of Castaic no longer have to go a far distance to get a drift on their freewheel. Cougar News reporter Taylor Hilo gives us a ride on the current opening of the skate park.
3, 2, 1.
Cutting the ribbon may have been the hardest part of the project. That hard work finally paid off as Castaic had the opening of its skate park. The nearest skate park was nearly 30 minutes away, but now a kickflip is at their fingertip.
For now, there has not been a place where skateboarders could enjoy their sport close to home in a fun and safe environment.
For some, this park sparked excitement.
I'm most excited for me to learn how to skate and get an experience to use a skateboard.
Skaters now have a place to focus on practicing.
It's good for the kids to at least learn tricks on this as opposed to skating something twice their size.
The $1.3 million project was shaped by the ideas of teens. Designers were inspired by their suggestions. They added amenities to ensure the skaters have a good time.
The reason it's so cool is because we actually had kids helping us with the design.
After all, it was their activism that kickstarted the project.
The skate park would not be here without the community's involvement, and I emphasize that to all the youth out there. It was the advocacy on behalf of the youth that said we need this in our community that made this happen.
For Cougar News, this has been Taylor Hilo reporting.
College of the Canyons hosted a field day containing a wide range of sports at the Valencia campus. The Cougars scored double wins from the women's softball and tennis teams, while the men suffered unfortunate defeat by Glendale Community College. The women's COC softball team and men's COC baseball team are set to take on Antelope Valley College in their next matchup this Thursday, March 14th.
It was a full day for COC athletics on a sunny Tuesday as women's tennis, women's softball, and men's baseball took to play on the diamond and the tennis court. The Lady Cougars women's tennis team were the first up on the Triple Sports Header Day by starting with freshman Una Stavelic, remaining undefeated in her conference play, which was then joined by her teammate Celeste Sacato to help win the Cougars a 6-3 win over Ventura City College. Next up, the Lady Cougars softball team faced off against LA Mission College. In the second inning, Caitlin Post stood and didn't bite on a fly ball, which helped her teammate steal third base, as she hit a line drive to load the bases. And Valeria Veras, next up to bat, hit a middle line drive to bring in 2 runs to bring their trailing deficit to 4-2. Then Natalie Topiti hit a line drive that brought in 2 more runs, tying the game. The girls went on to an 18-5 win. Lastly, Cougar men baseball faced off against Glendale Community College in an unfortunate matchup, trailing 2-0 in the second inning, where pitcher Brendan Herring allowed a single hit, which scored a run, and Ryan Bowling in the third hit a fly ball, which resulted in an out. Cougar men fall 5-1. For more, visit our website at www.cougarnews.com and visit all of our social media websites.
That does it for this edition of Cougar News. I'm Sarah Pena. Remember, you can catch us on the web at cougarnews.com.
And I'm Savannah Birchfield. You can also send us news tips and story ideas to our Twitter handle, COC_Cougar News, and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Have a good night, everybody.